What's happening, boys? Now, most of you are on the fence of being a full-time trader, and you're most likely going to make that transition very, very soon. And I believe in you. You will make that transition very, very soon. However, there's some things that I wish that I knew before I became a full-time day trader so that I don't make those silly mistakes. So in this video today, I'm going to break down in depth what I wish I knew before I turned into a full-time day trader. Now, before we get started, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Moby. I've been trading for 5 years. I became full-time on my year 2, and I've been literally trading full-time for literally the past 3 years. There was times where I almost gave up, and there was times where I just felt like I was above the moon, right? But that's how life gets. That's literally how things are. And we have to develop a plan, and we got to develop things, and we got to learn, and we got to go through losses and go through downs. You know, the saying, when you're at rock bottom, you know, there's only way is up. And that's how you feel majority of the time when you're starting up your trading journey and going and becoming a full-time day trader. Now, before we get into what I wish I knew before I became a full-time day trader, I am opening up a few spaces to my one-to-one coaching where I'll coach you completely for free for the next 3 days. If you guys are interested, where I audit your trades, I'll give you feedback, I'll tell you exactly where you're going wrong, or you're just a beginner and you need some sort of guidance or advice and you want to speak to someone that's been in the game for 5 years, this is definitely for you. What you need to do is click the first link in the description below. So when I transitioned into a full-time day trader, I just left university and I thought that life is going to be easy. I thought, you know what, I've made money in the markets, surely this couldn't be hard. So guess what I did? I ended up putting my expenses high, right? My expenses went super high and my income was super low. And at first I was just saying, I was hoping, I was like, okay, you know what? Life is going to be easy. It's going to be great. I'm going to make money in the markets. What can go wrong? Well, guess what? A lot of things can go wrong, okay? I ended up basically not making money in my first few months, and I had to get a job. I literally had to. There was no option but to get a job because I went full-time way too early. The thing is, when I left university, I was making good money, but the thing is, I wasn't paying rent because student finance. I was basically able to afford food because I was working at the time as well, and pretty much trading was just rolling on the flow. And so there was no pressure on me making money in the markets. But as soon as I went full-time, I didn't realize how much pressure you as a human being get when it comes to the market. Every single day, you're thinking in your head, I need to make money. And yeah, it might seem kind of cool, it might seem kind of fun, but over time, that stuff becomes stressful, especially when you're not making money. So you see that whole disciplined trader on, yeah, every day you don't have to trade, or yeah, every day you don't have to make money. That just gets scrapped when you first turned into full-time, because that pressure you've had, you know, when you were working, or when you were trading part-time and you were working or you were in school, you know, there was no pressure, there was nothing. But as soon as you go full-time, there's a whole load of pressure. And I think that's something that I didn't comprehend. And I had a big wake-up call. I had to realize that I need to take a few steps back. Now, it's okay if you guys have just turned full-time and you're also in that position and you feel like you've went full-time a bit too fast, or you feel like you're just depending on trading and trading really isn't making the cut for the past few months, don't worry, because you can take a few steps back. You see, with me, I had a big ego. I was like, I don't want to work. And I kept prolonging it to the point where my debts got higher and the income just wasn't there. And then I started applying for jobs. And if you're from the UK, you understand applying for jobs was hard, was difficult, especially when you just dropped out of uni. You know, all them uni jobs are getting taken up. Pretty much all the jobs are already taken, and it was after COVID, so it was like even tough. And I remember I was applying on Indeed for so many hours, just applying and applying and applying. And I was just like, man, trading might not be for me. And at that moment, I could have quit and I could have been like, you know what, I made money in part-time, but I'm in full-time and trading just isn't it. Maybe I have to just trade on the side. Maybe trading isn't something that I can do full-time. But that's when I had to realize that I need to take a few steps back. I need to go back to a job. I clearly, you know, sped up the process a bit too fast, and I've told myself that I am going to take a few steps back. Now, in my head, when I took those few steps back, I did feel bad. I will be honest with you. I felt bad. I felt kind of like, damn, is this really what I'm doing? Like, I literally told everyone. I've told everyone I'm a full-time day trader, I'm making money, and now I've got to face everyone and tell everyone that I am working a job again. And I just kept thinking about other people. And that really affected me mentally. That affected me a lot because I had to now think about what is other people gonna think about me me as. And I felt like I was going to be judged because I made a decision as a man and that decision didn't work out. At that moment of time though, I didn't realize it, but I just pushed through it. I pushed through it and I just said, it is what it is. And I just kept looking at the future. I kept thinking, you know what, this is just for the greater good. Eventually, I'm going to be in a better position. Eventually, I'm going to be able to fund my trading. Eventually, I'm going to be able to have more capital and I'm going to make more money. But in the meantime, I'm going to lock in. And that's what I did. I got off the grid. I didn't go on social media, deleted Snapchat, deleted Instagram. I just worked. I was so embarrassed. I didn't even want to be on social media. And I literally just worked, and just kept stacking up. Now, in this moment of time, there's funded accounts, but back then, funded accounts wasn't as popular. So it was kind of tough. I'm talking about like, this was like 3-4 years ago. So prop firms weren't as popular as it is now. So if I wanted to, I could have went through prop firm routes, but even at that moment, as a full-time day trader, you should have already gone through that prop firm route. You should have made money in the prop firm challenges. You should have filled up, the investment into your trading account. So I already fast forward that journey quite a lot. And then I remember, I think 1 year after working, especially like the jobs I was doing, like I was working like a dog, like I was working. And I remember telling myself, okay, I think I'm ready again. Because during that process, guess what I was doing? I was funding my account and I was trading and I was building that discipline back up again. And I was building that confidence up. And then I made that decision. I went full time again. But this time I realized, okay, I need to make sure I have at least 6 months of backing that if anything does go wrong, I'm okay. And I had to make sure that before I left that job, I was making at least 3-4 times more than what I was making in my job. And then I was confident. I was like, okay, you know what? This is actually pretty decent. I'm actually ready for this decision. But then another hurdle came through. Guess what? My expenses went back up again. I didn't learn my lesson, guys. I did not learn my lesson. I ended up splashing out, eating takeaway again. I had a lot more free time, so I was going out with my friends, traveling different cities, countries. And then again, I went through back to the same situation, but this time I had capital, but this time it was a thing where I just wasn't trading. I was a full-time trader, but I was trading like maybe once a week, and I was so unserious. And it was actually frustrating me at this point because I was like, what am I doing? Like, what is actually going through my head? I worked so hard to get to this level. Why am I not making money? Why am I still, I'm actually in a worse place. I might as well have worked. And the reason why I left the job in the first place is because I felt like I just didn't have time to trade. And now when I have time to trade, I was waking up late. I wasn't disciplined. I literally had no motivation. There was times where I literally just slept all day. And I was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I literally had to sit down with myself like, bro, what are you doing? Like, this is enough now. Like, you're profitable. You make money in the markets. You understand how stuff works. You've proven to yourself. You left your job. You have income. But because I had that 6-month bracket, I didn't have the pressure. I was like, 1 day is fine, 2 days fine. And that went on for like 6 months. Bro, it became winter. I remember telling myself, okay, and this is when I gained weight. I was fat. My face was puffy. I don't know if you guys see my old videos, but you'll see my face is puffy. I was gaining weight. I wasn't looking good. My beard was looking scruffy. I just didn't feel great. And it's like, I'm looking at all the other people and all the other traders and they're saying they're a full-time trader and they're enjoying their life. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why am I in this situation? Why did I put myself in this situation, And then I said to myself, okay, another learning curve. I said, you know what? I need to really lock in now. I need to just figure out some discipline. And I think that's what no one really talks about, is that when you become a full-time trader, your lifestyle matters a lot. What you eat, the way you wake up, your living conditions, making sure that your surroundings are clean, everything matters. Making sure that you feel great within yourself, that matters a lot. And that's when I started to actually see progress, when I really focused and I actually turned my full-time trading into a business rather than just some sort of side hobby that I'm doing, and my full-time life is me just being a main character, right? I'm still a main character, don't get it twisted, and you guys are still a main character. However, trading's gotta be serious. You gotta be locked in. You gotta journal. You gotta do all those different things. And that's when I started creating systems for myself. Waking up early, going to the gym, eating good. I ended up starting to intermediate fast to lower the calories I'm eating. I started to drink more water. I started to do all those things that were making me feel lazy. Because again, when you're a full-time day trader, no one tells you that you need to be disciplined. No one tells you that you got to wake up on time. Because you're a full-time day trader, you pretty much have the freedom. And so that's when I really started to lock in. That's when I started to really focus. And that's when things started to go ahead of myself and I started to actually make a lot of progress. And then I realized that there is going to be highs and lows. There is going to be times where I'm down and I got to lift myself up. There's going to be times where I'm up and I got to stay consistent and I can't be complacent. And with trading, which is very different to any other income, is you are in control of pretty much everything. Literally everything, except to the outcomes of trades. You're in control of your entries, you're in control of your risk, you're in control of your investments, you're in control with your emotions, you're in control whether you're going to turn up today, you're in control whether you're going to place a trade. There's so many factors that you're in control with. And any little slip up, everything's crashing like a domino. And that's something that you got to figure out. So I'm not trying to scare you guys, but before you go full time, you got to make sure you are 100% ready and committed. It's not about building a system or building discipline. You can do that while, like how I did, right? But you got to show that you're committed. You got to show that you're actually going to take this stuff seriously. And you got to give yourself that reality check. Like, hold on a minute, I want to be full time. Am I even ready for that? Now, some of you probably already full time, and this video hopefully is a reality check. You might need to take a few steps back, but it's fine though, because you take a few steps back and you can, launch yourself 10, 20 steps forward with the leverage. Stop making your life difficult. I made my life difficult when I first started trading, and I kept telling myself, okay, next month I'm going to sort myself out. Next month. Bro, that never happens. Just take action now, be committed, stay motivated, drive yourself to keep going. Now, if you guys are struggling with being committed, you're struggling with your drive, you're struggling with your systems, or you're struggling to actually make that transition into a full-time day trader, don't worry, I've got you guys covered. I am doing a one-to-one coaching completely for free. I've opened up a few more spaces for this month. If you guys are interested, click the first link in the description below. I will literally sit down with you one-on-one. We'll figure out how the hell we're going to get you to become a full-time day trader. And we're going to figure out a plan to get you to that point. Because for me, I didn't have anyone. I didn't have anyone to tell me like, bro, you got to do this. I didn't have a coach. Whereas you guys, I'm giving you that opportunity. Take the opportunity, click the first link in the description below, and I'll see you in the coaching one-on-one program. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys took the value out of it. It's a little bit of a more personal experience. If you guys like these kind of videos, essentially like this video, comment down below that you like this kind of videos, these kind of style videos, and I'll make more of it. Other than that though, guys, have a good day, keep making profits, and keep going, bro. You got this, and I'll see you in the next video.